So this is our IKEA drawer box assembly video. This is a finished deep drawer box. That's comes in. This is the pieces of the drawer box, and then this is the front, which is in here. Okay, so this is the finished product. When we get a box like this, has the fronts. It has a small top drawer front and two deep drawer fronts. So for this example, we're building one deep drawer. So we're going to take one deep drawer front for this video and set that aside. If you're opening a box, you always want to check these little ends in case there's any hidden or extra hardware that's needed before you throw away the box. So we see that these aren't there. So we just set these other fronts aside for the next boxes. All right. So we have our deep drawer front. And then we have our drawer box. Comes like this, wrapped with plastic. Some boxes will have indications that you shouldn't use a knife. This doesn't have one, so we can use utility knife. And then with any ready to assemble cabinet, you're going to have a bag of parts. So you don't want to open your bag of parts until you've taken out all the other parts in the box. In this box are drawer guides or glides or runners. Everybody calls them something different. The two runners attach to the sides of the cabinet, the base cabinet. So these we're going to get put off to the side for later, for when we're assembling the base cabinet. The instructions for the assembly are in the box. These are IKEA cabinets that were given to Habitat International and at a far reduced retail rate. And then, so I'm just taking everything out of the box. What I like to do is separate the cardboard from the plastic, and then we get rid of that, and we'll have a pile of cardboard that'll go into a cardboard recycling bin in the future. So now we have all of our parts. We're going to inspect our parts for any damage. This is the drawer bottom. These are the sides of the box. This is the back of the box. These are the top rails, which you can see in the finished box if you want to slide over. These are the top rails for the deeper drawer. Okay, so those are the parts. When we get to the instructions, on page 1 of the instructions, it shows us what's in our hardware bag. So I can see in the hardware bag that all those items are here. So then I open the hardware bag. And then we take and get rid of the plastic. These caps snap on to the sides of the runners to cover these holes. Some may call them ugly holes, but these holes are used once the cabinet is together for adjusting the drawers. So I put these off to the side for later. There's also 4 of these screws, which are made to hold the drawer runners on the side of the cabinet box. So since we're putting the runners aside, we're also putting these screws aside with the runners for later. So now we have everything we need to put the cabinet together. All right, so in this instruction, the step 1 is to put the runners on the side of the box. We're skipping that for today. We're going to go to step 2. And step 2 is often frustrating. I'm going to move this right out of the way. Okay, so in step 2, we take the sides like this and then the back. So the bottom, the white bottom slides into goes into this groove, and then it slides into this groove and into this groove. These line up. These holes here line up with these, and it should just snap together. What a lovely snap. Got lucky on that one. You can edit out any of my remarks. And this one's not going to be as nice. There we go. Or not.
Not such a lovely snap.
No. So, whatever reason that's not snapping in, get it down this way. And that was snap. So, this is the back of the drawer box. This is the front of the drawer box. This is the bottom of the drawer box. Now, there's a finished end and there's an unfinished end. The unfinished end goes into the direction of the back. You see the grooves on the back here. There's actually these little nubs in the side rails. And these go on to this. So you get them started. And it's critical that you try to do it even and see how it wants to.
Does it help to have a second person?
Well, if we had 2 people, a second person would be good, but it's not necessary. But you want to try to go evenly. So once you get most of the way in, you can do it nice and even this way. Thank you, Nathan. And now we have basically constructed the box without the front, and that's where that is. So when we go to the next page, it shows what we just did is number 3, and then number 4 is we're taking a drawer front and we're attaching the drawer front. These capture the drawer box. These are, I would call them a clip. These have this adjustment screw on both sides. There is no right way or wrong way to put them in because they're the same. These are the screws that go for the drawer box clips. And we take a Phillips head screwdriver and the pre-drilled hole. Now you notice with any IKEA cabinets, you'll see different size holes. Certain holes of certain sizes only take certain things. So this hole is much bigger than these two holes. So we know that this isn't going to attach here anywhere. So it makes it somewhat foolproof. If anywhere along the way you're having difficulty assembling a drawer box, you don't want to force it fit. You want to take a moment and either put it aside because maybe there's something defective about it. And we'll do this. And these are just hand tight. You could use a cordless screw gun if you wanted to. I don't recommend them because you can overdo it and then strip the hole in the actual front. And plus, it's good for my hand therapy. Okay, so those are now that those are in place, this goes right onto this. And again, there's several ways that this might feel like it needs to go in. So that looks like it's in, but it's not. So again, there's a certain way it lines up and it makes a nice click. And sometimes it's not always the first time. Right, there's a little phalange there that is a release clip if you have to take it off. All right, so we're almost done with this drawer box. The next thing are the runners. So being that it's a deep drawer, you put these in for two reasons. It's amazing how much thought goes into these products. So these go into the larger hole until they bottom out. And then as you pull it forward, it actually tightens so it can't come out of that hole. It has an expansion. And then this little piece snaps right in. We love the sound of a snap. All right. Then this slides over and covers the end. And then we do the same again. We put that into there as we straighten it. I amazingly have created a third hand. And then if you run into where it's not quite fitting, you might have to do that. Now, these have another purpose at the end. These rotate. And if you zoom in on this right here, Erin, you can see that rotates. And it it's for further adjustment of the drawer once it's in the drawer box. It allows us to level the face of the drawer. And there we have it. There's our assembled drawer box.
Fini?
Stay tuned for base cabinet assembly video. We're going to talk real quick about how we open the box. Did I do that on the other one? I don't think
The first one I think you did.
On the drawer boxes?
I think so.
It was just a plastic one, and I think I said we need to worry about it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so when we're opening up a ready-to-assemble cabinet from IKEA, the labels are on the end. Is there a label on that end?
Yes.
It just tells us the size of the cabinet and what it is. So what I like to do is open the box in a certain way so it becomes like the base of the. So I take my finger and I hold it to the side And I'm not gonna hurt, there's no labels on this box that tell you to not use a knife. And that way I'm just staying within that. And then I turn it like this. Again, I'd want to have a nice sharp knife. I was talking earlier to our workers about the importance of a sharp knife. More knife injuries are caused by dull knives in the home and on the job site. So you always want to make sure your knives are nice and sharp. Now I just spun it around because I want this to be open like a book. Like this. Ready, Aaron?
Uh-huh.
No.
Oh.
I know, we got the ooh. All right, and there, right in front of us, I lucked out. I opened it from the one side that gave us our directions. So a lot of things are self-explanatory. This is a back. This is the inside of the back panel. Back panel goes on last, so I always take the back panel and set it aside like that. Then we're going to have a side panel. So all the holes are on the inside, and when we look at the directions, we're going to always have this rabbited edge on the opposite end of each end side panel. This piece, ooh, see all these myriad of holes. So these are our larger holes are for our cams, and these holes are for our factum legs. You may say, what's a factum leg?
It's a factum leg.
Factum leg. So these have two integral plastic dowels that are part of it that will go into these holes. And we'll get to those later. All right, so this is the bottom, which isn't a big deal right now at the moment. So again, I'm setting this off to the side. These are our top and bottom rails. I mean our two top rails, front and back. Those have dowel holes here. And these are extra holes that we're not going to be using, but these are pieces that are made for all kinds of IKEA products. So again, these aren't something we need right this second, so they go here. Again, when we open up our booklet, we see our list of parts, and we have our bag of parts. And again, just a quick look, looks like we have all those parts that we need. All right, so there we go. Earlier in the program, we put together drawer boxes. The drawer boxes have drawer runners that we will be putting on these that we didn't do when we assembled the drawers because we didn't have the boxes, the cabinet bases assembled. So our next instruction shows us our next step. Again, we're rabbit. The rabbits are showing here, and I know that they're on the other side. So this little hanger bracket's on the outside, and it's always at the rabbited end. So we're just taking this one. We're having the holes up, and we have the rabbited end. Now I'm looking at the directions towards me. So our next step is these brackets. So Anthony, you want to help me screw these brackets on? So you can come right around here.
All the way around, huh?
I'm going to put them on this end. Okay. Oh. Right. So you can just come right over here. If that's I'm facing the directions.
That's not right. Oh yeah, This has 4.
Right. Okay. So again, sorting out the fasteners. Anthony needs 2 of those. I need 2 of those over here. These little buggers always lose their way. You got a screwdriver over there? Want to do these 2, Jay? Yeah, sure one. Nailer backer. You got them both? The whole thing? Those are great. So then you're gonna do one of those there, and one of those there.
So one of these right here.
Yep, and we're not gonna hammer it in. We're just gonna push it in. Okay. So you're gonna do 4 here. The dowels, they just get pushed in a little bit.
You want to do them?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab mine.
Okay.
So this is the top, right?
Yep. This is
So
the
it's
top.
2, okay.
So this gets a dowel there and a dowel there,
This is screwed still. Okay.
and then we're just gonna take our connector bolts. Anthony, just these connector bolts, just set them aside over there. All right. All right, thank you, gentlemen. So now we're done. We're done with putting the cam shafts in. Now we're putting the dowels in. Put these dowels down there.
So 2 of those.
All right. Yeah, we need 2 for this one.
You got 3.
I got 2 there. We need 1 more for the bottom. Okay.
I got 3 more sitting here. That's why.
Right, so we need 4 because the bottom piece, but we're gonna do that in a minute. So these cams go in again with the arrows pointing at. We have everybody jumping in on this one because it's a little repetitive. All right.
Just a little.
That goes there, that goes there.
Let's see, screw. Yeah, where's this last one go right here? Where's that last one of these? Okay.
And can we put those in the trash? Right. Nathan, those dowels go along the bottom. All along the bottom. And if we're missing one, we're missing one. All right, so we know that this is the top of the cabinet because this is at the top. The rabbit is in the back. When we put these rails on, we look for the front, so we know that the rabbit is the back. So this just sets right over the cam and the dowel. And
This one doesn't matter, right?
this one doesn't matter, it has to go the cam over the cam, and we don't care that the finished end is facing the back. And then we just tighten the cams in. And then we grab our back panel. Okay. And you're gonna pop these in, all right? Those go in there. Remember, the arrow is going to point to the hole. Right, Eugene?
Yep.
The hole is right there. Turn that a little bit. All right, now that arrow's got to point to the hole.
You're missing a wooden peg name.
And we're missing a peg. So let's see if we have another peg around. It might have rolled off onto the floor. Now we have the bottom. So all these holes are in the bottom. So now, Nathan, you're gonna just slide that, fit those all over all those. Okay?
Okay.
All right, and you should be able to just stand up and push that down. Now, if it happens to be a warm and humid day when you're trying to do this, sometimes it's not a bad idea to put a little soap on them. So now that's all locked in place.
Why so?
Well, the soap will help them slide a little better. If you put water on them, they'll tighten up. They'll swell up. You got those locked in, Nathan? All right. So make these be a little straighter. All right. We're gonna flip this over. You're gonna need to stand up. And that end, it's got, if you do the bottom end with Nathan is first, because he's got more holes to line up. Okay, he's doing great. Now we can do our end, because we have less holes to line up. All right, and then we just tighten our cams. Anthony, do we have the marker over there? So now we're going to put our drawer runners on. And our drawer runners had instructions that told us that the top drawer goes in the fourth hole. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we mark that. The middle drawer goes in the 12th hole. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That goes there.
We don't have a bottom and fourth place.
Right. And then 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And the bottom rail goes in number 22. So we just count them and mark them. And that's where we're at with that. So we're doing this while the cabinet is on the table, rather than trying to attach these drawer runners after the box is already built and the back is on. Because you'll see, these are the left, this is the left side. So when we line up these runners to these holes, it's easier to get at them when the cabinet is in this state. All right, so there should be packages of screws. All right. Thank you. All right. This portion of the IKEA cabinet assembly training video will be doing a wall cabinet. This is a finished wall cabinet with the adjustable shelves that have recessed shelf pins that locks the shelf in place. Now, the homeowner can put the shelves wherever they like. The back of the cabinet is nailed in place and it's recessed because this will hang on a rail, and these little holes that you see up here, that's when we slide this in onto a bolt that's in a hanging rail, so that will be that. So this is what we're going to put together next. Thank you. Eugene, you can put this back where it was. Got it? Thank you. Okay. So, we've opened up the package. There is our package of different connectors. Excuse me 1 second.
Here we go.
We've opened up the box, and we have the bag of assembly hardware, the hanging quarter brackets, and the top and bottom, the back, and the 2 sides. So when we go to our IKEA installation booklet, we look at all the pieces and parts that are in the bag. So from a quick visual inspection, they look like they're all there. Okay, and then these are the corner pieces, and they're all there. So it's always good to start by just making sure you have pretty much everything that you need. And when we go to the next phase, we're told to lay out the cabin panels. These are the 2 side panels, and they show, you have to look really close to see which one has the rabbet. So if you look at this edge of this panel, it has the rabbet edge. Okay, so they show a rabbet on this side, and you don't see really the rabbet on the other side. Silly rabbit. So we're going to take these out like this. I'm going to put this rabbet on this side. I'm going to make this. I'm going to put this in my direction, so I'm building it from this. So the first thing we do is we put the hanging brackets on the top. Here and here. Then we open up our pack. Once again, with IKEA, all the different items have different size holes. So these are the nails that go in to nail the back panel. So I throw those off to the side because I'm not going to need them right now. These are cabinet connector bolts that we'll use when you're installing. So one goes with the other. So I just pull those out, because once you go through this pack of stuff, you're like, okay, we don't need all those for the assembly of the cabinet, but we are going to need them later. Those go there. These are hanging pieces, again, for when we're ready to hang. So those will go off to the side. And now we're left with these go over here. So we have 4. We should have 4 of these little screws. One, two, three. Hopefully the other one will show up. So the instructions show me to put these in hole 1 and 2. Some of you might be wondering why we're not using a cordless screw gun for this. Again, you could, but if you're not good with a variable speed screw gun, you can over tighten these and strip the hole, and since the cabinet is hanging on these, it's not a good idea. I need my longer screwdriver. Where did I put it? Here it is. These are Phillips head screws. Nothing special. They're not Torx head or any other kind of head. have any background music for this.
Jason can sing.
All right, so the guys have already put together 2 of these wall cabinets. So they've done a fine job at that. Now, I don't know if a screw will go off the floor. Okay, so those are in place. So that's our first step. Our next step is we're going to put in the cam dowels. So these are the mechanical cam dowels or cam shafts that hold on the top and bottom cams. And again, it's a Phillips head bit. And it gets started. Now you notice that we have a large hole and then a large hole and a small hole. These only fit in there. Can't put it in there. It's not gonna stay in. So the one thing they do is you can't really do it wrong. There's only certain things that fit in the proper holes. And these cam dowels, they have a little flat spot, so you can't send them in too far. If they didn't have that shoulder, then they would go in possibly too far. All right, Anthony, you can do those on that end, okay? And then you can just pause the video if you want. All right, we've put in all the cam dowels. Now we're going to put in the wood dowels. The wood dowels obviously only fit in the holes that are large enough for a wood dowel. Now, one of the things that people think they need to do is to hammer these in. It's not a good idea. You just push them in as far as you can. If you hammer down on these, you're going to smush the end. It's going to enlarge the end and cause it to be a problem later. As we push the other pieces in place, they will bottom these out to where they need to be. The other thing is, if you're hammering them, you could hammer them too far and it would blow out the other side. And then that might not be good. So these just set right in to these holes. And again, you can see that the different size hole will only receive the proper size fitting. All right. All right, those are easier than the screwing the other ones in. So now we have our top and our bottom, and these take the cam. These cams are what lock in the cam dowel. So if you look, can you close up on that? You'll see an arrow right there. That arrow always points to the hole here. And then you just push those down with your thumb. If you don't have the arrow lined up in the beginning, that's okay, because you can just turn it. But when you go to install it, it needs to be lined up with that hole. I just like to take care to line them up in the beginning. It doesn't take that much time to take a good look at them. There with that. And And again, they don't take much to push them in. With any of this ready to assemble furniture, you might hear things called RTA, ready to assemble. RTA furniture. If something isn't going into its design spot easily, it's a good idea to not force it. Because that either means there's something in the way or it's the wrong piece. Okay, so we're ready to put the top or bottom on. So we see a rabbet on this end, which is the back of the cabinet. We see a rabbet here on this, which I'm calling the top, because the hanger bracket's at the top. So again, this should, if all those arrows are lined up, I just press that down. And one of the things I like to check is that it's fairly flush on the front here. All right. And then I'm turning the cam. We'll do it on that side so you get a video of it.
Okay.
I'm just turning the cam and locking the cam in on that side. Okay, Eugene, you're gonna get to do this one. Over here on this one. Yep, good. Check the rabbet. It should just slide right over. All those line right up. And that just pushes down. A little bit more of a tap on that side. Good. Now, you're gonna, if you just let the videotaper get a close-up of the cam, all right, you can see the little arrow, and then Eugene, just tighten one up. So there's a little arrow, and he's going to turn it to the right, righty-tighty, until you can't turn it anymore, and it's locked in. And he's going to go to the other one, and locked in. Now, we're going to flip this over. You take your end. Stay right there with your trusty screwdriver. And again, those holes lined up. That's locked in place. Take your cam. Right, lock it right in. All right, and then I'm going to lock these in on this end. Boom, boom. Now that cabinet is all locked in, top and bottom, and the two sides. So then we have this. All right, this is our back panel. The interior of these cabinets is a natural maple melamine finish. Melamine is a plastic laminate that's super thin. This is like paper thin plastic, very washable, so the interior is washable. So this gets put right in place here. We push this down in, and now the back is in place. All right. This is the top. This is our hanging rail, and then these are screwed. They're not screws, they're nails. But they have a ridge on them, a screw or a ring shank to hold them in place. Can I use your hammer?
Yep.
Thank you. So, we go along one side first to keep all this, because the back, when it's nailed in, helps hold the cabinet square. So we just put it on a slight angle towards the outside, so it doesn't blow out on the inside. They give you plenty of these nails, but you only need them 6 to 8 inches. And I'm just gonna, now that that side's all in, I'm going to check this side. and this is just gonna continue around, and we'll just, you guys finish nailing that off? All right, so now
Repurposing, I like that.
we've assembled the sides and the top and the bottom, and we've put the back panel on. And now that we're done with the assembly of the cabinet, these are gonna show us how to hang the cabinet. But once we're not gonna hang the cabinet at this moment, but once we have the cabinet built, I wanna just show people how the shelves go in. So you get a shelf pack like this, and the little red package has the shelf pins in it. So I'm not worrying about my knife because I'm cutting on the exposed ends. I'm not going to harm any finish. Put that in the trash, thank you. I try to keep up on the trash as we open boxes and we unwrap plastic if we have a trash bin nearby. So the shelves have these little route outs that will hold the shelf in place. And you'll notice that one is closer to the back edge, the unfinished edge, and there's another one that's a little further from the front edge. So the front edge is always going to show in the front. And then the shelf pins are what they call 5mm. So if you're ever looking for shelf pins in your store, they'll usually have these at the hardware store or the lumber yard. They're called 5mm. They have a nice little stop so you can't push them in too far. And if we just count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, let's just say 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I remembered where 8 was. All right. So we know that these are in the back. So this slides in. And what's really nice, so if you're in a home and you have your shelves that I was showing the guys earlier, a lot of cabinetry only has a pin and it doesn't have the routes. So that would fall out. So if you were grabbing a jar of something out of your cabinet and the cabinet wasn't locked in like these are, you could do this and then that could happen. You need to damage the shelf, the cabinet, or whatever you're trying to get out. So for an inexpensive, ready to assemble cabinet, it's kind of a nice feature. Then you just repeat that for the other shelf, and just picking a spot randomly. I'm eyeballing it. See how my eyeballs are. And that's what happens when you don't count the holes. So, oops. I just moved those up one. How's that look?
That looks fine.
All right. And that's the cabinet assembly. The door and that will go on after, and we'll do that in another video. Thank you very much.